Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zack, and today I am driving a 2012 Lexus CT200h. Up front is a 1.8 liter inline-4 as well as a hybrid system, and down below is a CVT. Now I am super excited to be driving this CT200 because it's been several years since I've done so, and the CT200 is a very interesting car to me, not only because it's very overlooked in the modern used market, but also it's just an interesting era for Lexus. It was an interesting era for cars in general, and so I'm excited to talk about all of that with you here today. But if you'd like to submit your own vehicle and have it reviewed here on the channel, you can head on over to my website, zackpradel.com/submit. It's a quick and easy submission form. It takes under a minute to fill out, and I come out to you. And if you'd like to see all my videos weeks or sometimes months in advance, you can head on over to my Patreon for only $5 a month. But let's get back to that 1.8 liter inline-4 under the hood, as well as that hybrid system. Well, it's no secret a talking point with the CT200 is normally the fact that this is mostly comprised of Toyota Prius parts, and that drivetrain is the main one. This, underneath the skin, is a Toyota Prius of the era 2012. The Prius was using the exact same setup. And that means two things. First of all, it ain't quick. This is not a fast car. But the second thing is that it's very, very efficient. You could expect upwards of 40 miles to the gallon out of this car. And post-recession America needed something like this. We had the Prius, of course, but you can only sell a Prius for a certain dollar amount, so Lexus went upscale with it to try to sell more of them. Like I said, paired to it is a CVT, and in a hybrid application, it's fine. I also trust Toyota Lexus a lot more when it comes to these transmissions as opposed to other brands. So it's fine, it works, and I'm happy with it. It plays in the sandbox very, very happily alongside the hybrid system. Now, last but not least about the drivetrain, it is front-wheel drive. We did not get a all-wheel drive Prius until a couple years after 2012. How does it feel to drive the CT200h? It's really great. The suspension is a little bit rougher than what you might expect out of a Lexus product. If you come into this car from an LS430 or a GX or the LX700 Overtrail, you're going to be a little bit disappointed by this ride quality. Again, think of this because it is a nicer Prius. So the ride quality is not that good. But, again, you get that efficiency and it looks very good, so that's what we'll focus on here today. Visibility out the front is fine. Out the back, it's not great because it is that hatchback wagon style, and everything else is good. Throttle input, steering is all pretty normal. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have 3 gauges and a little screen. Off to the left is my tachometer, in the center is a speedometer, and off to the right is fuel, and again, we get that little information screen down below. On the steering wheel, on the left, we have our mode button, as well as volume and skip track, and off to the right, we have display, as well as voice options and phone options. Off to the left of the steering wheel, we do have a climate control vent, power mirror switches, and gauge dimmer switch, as well as our heated windshield wipers. Very, very nice to see that down below. And moving on to the door, we have the latch to get in and out, some nice brown leather, as well as we have lock and unlock, and our power windows. Moving into the center, interestingly enough, we do get this little cubby up at the very top, which has a warning sticker about the 12-volt outlet in there, so you don't run your battery down too low. Kind of interesting to see that. Then we have 2 climate control vents and the hazard switch, and we have our climate controls, all physical climate controls. Love to see this, especially because in some of Lexus's nicer, more expensive products of the time, like the ISF, it actually had touchscreen climate controls. They stuck with physical ones here in the CT200, and I think that'll help this vehicle age a lot better. But they're easy to use, dual zone climate, fan speed, all of that. Down below, we do get a CD player, AM, FM power, tune, things like that. We have the shifter off to the left, again shared with the Prius. That's where you'll recognize this from. And park is its own button down below. And then we have our drive modes for Eco, Normal, and Sport. We also do have EV mode, and off to the right, we have our heated seat options. I love that you push them in, you adjust the heated seat, and then you can put them away. Really, really like that little touch. Makes me feel like a sound engineer mixing a song. Coming into the center console, because the shifter's up high, we actually have a decent amount of cubby space. We have some coin holders, a cubby in the center, as well as off to the right, we have our 12-volt outlet an aux input hidden away under a tiny little door. Then we do have cup holders, so we will do a big friggin' bottle test in the CT200H. And I'm happy to report that I think the front cup holder does, in fact, pass the big friggin' bottle test. I was not expecting it. Most Lexus products don't, but the CT200H is different in many ways. Now, we do get an armrest, but it is pretty far back, so if you do rely on this for longer drives, might be something you want to consider. But we have the seats. The seats are heated in power, and they are comfortable, as well as they are finished in this nice tan, like the door cards. I love the contrast in the interior. They're comfortable, I enjoy them, and I don't have any complaints. However, speaking of seats, we do have back seats, so let's go do a back seat review. All right, it's been a couple years, but if I remember correctly, this is not going to be pleasurable, but we got to do it anyway. I do like the seats. I like that they carry on the sort of caramel look from the front into the back. It's not quite tan. Yeah, it's a little tight, but it's not the end of the world. My knees are hitting the seat in front of me, but if I spread them a little bit, I can make it work. Honestly, the bigger issue is the headroom. I'm 5'11", not a small guy, as I say, and I am coming very close to hitting the ceiling. Now, I'm not, so I could ride back here, but if you're 6 foot or over, this is gonna be quite the squeeze in the back of the CT200H. However, this was one of the smallest, I think it was the smallest car that Lexus was making at the time, and so to be expected. If you're really worried about backseat space, might I suggest buying an LS430 or LS400 or even the LS600 with the executive seat package. I would recommend one of those if you're worried about the back seats, but we're not super worried about the back seats. I fit fine enough, and that's really it. Again, I like the seats here, and we don't get a center console. Kind of interesting there. We don't get any climate vents or anything of the sort. So again, it seems like the back seats were a little bit more of an afterthought, not a lot of attention given to it, but that's okay. Small car, small car. Speaking of small car, let's hop into the back. We'll take a quick look at the trunk and cargo space, and then we'll talk about the looks. All right, now something really cool is that it is a completely fresh body for the CT200H. While it is a Prius underneath that I'll say a million times, if you take a shot every time I say it in this video, you will die. But underneath Prius, but the body was completely different, and it got a hatchback where the Prius of the time was a little bit more sedan-y. I know it technically had a hatch, but it didn't have that signature hatchback style like this does. Anyway, inside the hatchback, we don't get a whole ton of space. As you can see, the floor doesn't go down really almost at all. We do have some storage down there, but that's it, because that is where the hybrid battery lives, so it does eat into the storage compartment quite a bit. We have a light over to the right, but nothing beyond that. I don't get any outlets. We have a slot for a privacy cover, and we can come around here, open this up, bring this down, and the seats will fold flat for a nice flat loading floor, but still not a crazy amount of space. So if you're looking to move across the country and you need a vehicle to do that in, I don't recommend the CT200H, but if you want an efficient, good-looking hatchback, this is the one for you. Now we gotta talk about the looks, and I think this is where the CT200H really knocks it out of the park. Because yes, it is a Prius under the skin, but it looks so much better. This is an incredibly attractive hatchback, and it almost makes me wish that they did like a 2-liter turbo GR Corolla style version of this, because it looks so good. And I do think that this has withstood the test of time in terms of look very, very well. In addition to it just looking good for 2012, it looks good just as a car. I also love the red color. I feel like every Lexus I drive is silver, white, or black. The occasional sparkle of color in there, and we're dealing with red here today, which I really, really enjoy. And overall, I just think this is such a cherry car, even past just the color. With all of that being said, let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think driving the Lexus CT200H? Yet again, I have driven one before. It has been years and years and years since I last drove one, so it's always good to re-up, get my toes wet in the CT200H one more time. Well, I really like this car. The only downside that I have truly found with the CT200H is the ride quality. And the ride quality isn't bad. It's just not at the level of Lexus that I would assume. Every other Lexus product I've ever driven has always had a superior ride over their Toyota counterparts, and I don't really find that here. But besides that, this is way better equipped than any Prius. It's way more attractive than any Prius. It drives better than any Prius. This is the better Prius. And now that these are on the used market, this particular vehicle being 14 years old, you can find them for pretty good deals. You can find them for affordable prices. And now they're competitive with Priuses. You know, you're going to be able to find one of these or a Prius at the same price. And why wouldn't you splurge and get the dual zone climate, the heated seats, the nicer premium accented interior, the way better looks, the better hatchback? And Lexus doesn't really offer a vehicle like this anymore. The Lexus UX is pretty close. That is a little bit more SUV-y, a lot less sporty. I think it's less attractive. I just don't love the UX, although I've been quoted as saying the UX is kind of a modern version of this CT. It still doesn't hit the same nail that this one does. And in early 2012, there were far fewer hybrids on the market. This was a really, really solid choice, and I think this was a really smart way of doing it. I think Toyota should make 30 cars that are Priuses underneath and just put different bodies on top. Why wouldn't you? It's such a solid platform and solid hybrid system that it seems like a no-brainer. I don't know. My love for the CT200 is vast and endless, and it is just such a wonderful car that came at the right time, and boy, do I wish that there were more of them. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Matt and Al for letting me borrow their CT200H for today's video. They run the Wisco Shenanigans YouTube channel, so please go check them out in the description down below. They are absolutely wonderful. I have reviewed dozens and dozens and dozens of their vehicles over the years. They've always been huge supports to the channel, and I'm very, very appreciative of Matt and Al. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.